Welcome, everyone. This is Virtua Vibe, a podcast from the Virtua team where we talk everything Web 3.0. We try to dissect the latest in NFTs, what's happening in the space. We're here to learn, we're here to play, and that we hope you enjoy this ride with us. And I'm joined with Pierre Dadd. And Pierre, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I will. Thank you. But before I do that, I came up with an alternative name to Virtua Vibes. I don't know if this is so appropriate, but I thought because it's Pierre and Parves, we could call it Peepees. What do you think?
I approve, but you think the management will approve?
It's probably not the best from a brand point of view, is it? Peepees Virtua Vibes.
A podcast from the PP team.
Right, getting back on point. So thank you. Yes, so my Pierre Dadd, CMO for Virtua. I've been in the business now for approximately 18 months, and my background is very much entertainment and online marketplaces. So my experience is a lot of time at Lego and Disney, working on both on physical products, but also towards the end of those periods, working a lot on digital products as well. So lots of virtual world experience. It's interesting because it feels like we're back in that place. Obviously, they're very different now, and in terms of what we know that you'll be able to do in the metaverse and what you can already start to in the metaverse is very different. But I think that whole piece of an online community, engaging in a space, running around doing cool stuff is, there are a lot of parallels. Not exactly the same, but there are a lot of parallels. And then getting into online marketplaces as well, so Auto Trader and places like that. So it's been quite the ride. And I can't wait to see where it's going. And as I think we were talking about, the excitement of this space is the excitement of it is the unknown, right? It is like going into space. You don't know what's around the corner.
Man, this space is exciting. I've been in the company now for almost a year. I don't know much about the business, right? In terms of metaverse, NFT, I've known about crypto, but looked at it from very far away. And now, oh my God, I can't. This reminds me of the early days of the internet. You don't really quite know what's going to happen, but you know it's going to happen. Something's going to happen. It's a rocket ship, and for me right now, we are in the space. We're early in the space, but imagine when there's mass adoption, the consumers, everyone comes on board. That is next level, man. Next level.
Hey, I got a thought though. Why don't you introduce yourself as well? Because quite frankly, I'm not really clear what you do either.
Well,
apart from giving me a hard time, you give me a hard time a lot. But apart from that,
I thought we could skip that. No.
Yeah.
Well, Parves Shahid, I head out product at Virtua, and what we do is essentially take brands from the Web 2.0 space and bring them into Web 3.0. We introduce them into NFTs, we take them into the metaverse. When these brands join us, they don't know how they know about the concept, but they don't know how they can enter it. And we're all about partnering up with them and taking them in. And it's fun, it's fantastic having a blast, so to speak. So in regards to my background, I've been in the digital space, Web 2.0, for a long time. Since 2006, I started off with Smart Travel Media in the US, a sister company of TripAdvisor. I've worked with companies like The Entertainer, the Landmark Group in Dubai. So I'm in Dubai and you're in the UK.
Yeah.
I started a company of my own, and then stumbled upon Virtua and loving it since.
What was your own company?
I started a company for e-commerce photography and e-commerce consulting. So basically, when I was working with Landmark, I saw the business, the operations, and I saw there was a good niche for photography. So,
are you a photographer?
No, not me. I hired photographers.
Oh, okay. Would you ever go out on your own again?
It's hard, man. It's hard. It's it's one of those things that we think about. Wow, let's do it. Let's start. But in terms of the fun, the product is fun. doing it is fun. All the back end work, like employees, electricity bills, and resources. Oh my god, it's a pain.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, when if the itch happens, yeah, of course, why not?
I set up on my own for a while as well. I set up a brand consultancy for a bit. Talk about roller coaster ride, right? The hard pitching and landing a client and earning revenue off that client is probably you're never going to experience a high, I think, like that, right? I think that, to know that only happened because you made it happen. There's something about that. But the times when you haven't got a client and they are soul destroying. I find so. For me, I think it's always something I wanted to do, and I did it, but it's not something I necessarily want to go back to. Let's say that.
In my career, I've always thought of sales as, it's easy, right?
Yeah.
And in the company, I didn't hire a salesperson. Like, I didn't hire a business development person, salesperson. I could do it myself. Why not? No. Oh my God. It's a different beast altogether.
Because while you're focusing on the current client, you've got to be thinking about the next client, and that's the challenge.
What is your plan? What are we gonna do, man? What are we gonna do with Vibes?
I would like it to be. I mean, I think we've talked about this obviously off camera, right? And I think I want it to be a very sort of natural, organic, you and me having a chit chat and seeing where the conversation's going to go. But I also think it's got to be, we've got lots of other content lined up, right? As we know, right? So talking about metaverse and all those sorts of things. But whereas there's lots of other aspects to our business. I mean, a lot of it's tied into the metaverse, but there's lots of other elements to our business. And I would like this to be the sort of all-encompassing piece of content that we talk about the broader business. We talk about things out there in the market that are of interest to us that we think may have a relevance to what we're doing. And I can tell some really bad dad jokes at the end as well.
I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to that one. The end piece. So, Seema, what's interesting in the market right now? Have you seen anything fun things to talk about?
Yeah, there's a few things I saw this week, right? One of them is Zuckerberg and Meta and Horizon World and all that sort of stuff, right? So I saw this post. I saw this all the stuff going on across the internet, right? Of they released a new version of Horizon World for France and Spain, and they put out this dodgy visual of Mark Zuckerberg's horrendous-looking avatar with so-called dead eyes, standing in front of a very pixelated version of the cathedral in Spain, and which I forget the name of, and the Eiffel Tower, and it just looked horrific, right? And so he just got absolutely trashed online because they're pouring billions into a project, and that's what they come out with, And we're all in this together, right? We're all growing the metaverse together. So I just think it's interesting that how they thought that was a good idea, I think is one thing. But secondly, it just again reiterates the point of this is it's a nascent space, but quality, it's got to be quality, man. Otherwise, what's the point?
The thing with Meta is they have access to like millions and millions of people, right? And maybe he's just looking as an MVP, get those people on board, and then improve the experience. Who knows? But I agree with you. There are a lot of metaverse players out there right now. And instead of all of us being siloed, if there's agreement in terms, not agreement, but if there's a certain standard set for quality, excellence, user journeys, then we all stand to benefit from consumers coming on board. Right?
For sure.
100% agree.
For sure.
100% agree.
Yeah, so that was quite interesting. And then I saw, going back to, I think it was maybe October, November last year, when they announced the sort of name change to Meta, and we saw the whole, Meta just spiking in terms of trending, as in metaverse trending, right? And I think that was a massive instigator in terms of why we're here and what we're talking about today. But then it's also interesting watching what else is happening and how that's happening. And I saw Apple are coming up with a new VR AR headset, which headset they're releasing next year. That they're thinking is going to be another one of the key drivers in mass awareness. Hopefully longer term getting to mass adoption. So I think that would be quite interesting as well. So let's see. Again, watch the space.
A fun thing I saw: Crypto.com accidentally transfers 10.5 million.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, to an Australian woman and doesn't notice for 7 months. These things never happen to me or to you. Although this woman is sued and they're trying to get her to court, but she isn't responding. She's I think she's purchased a 5-bedroom house somewhere. And she actually reached out to them to get a refund for some transaction for $100. So instead of $100, they sent her 10.2 million. So they know. So when audit came around 7 months later, they found out.
It feels like there was a thing in a restaurant, a steak restaurant here in the UK a few years ago of someone ordering like a 10 quid, well, not a 10 quid bottle, like, let's say a 100 quid bottle of wine, and the waiter brought out a 2,000 bottle of wine, £2,000 bottle of wine by accident, you know.
And they drank it, and
then they just made a joke of it, because they couldn't do anything else. But anyway, that wasn't me either, unfortunately.
Talking about wine, I just saw right now an NFT ticket to have a beer with actor Bill Murray. Yeah, sold for $185,000. It's charity.
Yeah.
But super cool, huh? Even in this bear market, things like this still fly.
Yeah, and I think to have a beer with Bill Murray, who knows where that conversation would go, right? I don't know where this conversation is going, but that conversation with Bill Murray would be off the charts, right? that would be awesome.
But it tells you something, right? Even for when building programs for companies, for brands, for partners, for IPs, if there's some element of actually having interaction in real life experience, money can't buy experiences, people still would be okay with it. Look at this, 185,000 for Bill Murray. It's amazing. If I had the money, I would do it.
Yeah, no, I think it's very cool. Very cool. What did I see the other day? Yeah, so this is an interesting one, right? About a metaverse job fair, right? So rather than all converging in a dodgy, sweaty convention centre, and peddling your wares for looking for jobs, but actually doing it within the metaverse, right? And having an online space and doing it in there. So I was talking to someone the other day, and they said, "Oh, I've got this interview." I was like, "Oh, right, okay. Well, were you doing it from home then?" No, I've got to go into London for the interview. And I'm like, a physical interview? It doesn't compute anymore to me, right? So I think that sort of stuff's going to be really interesting, and how and I think it's, for me, in my definition of the metaverse, it's this blurring or twinning of the virtual and the physical, and I think that's a great example of that. And I think that, and you're hearing about virtual health and virtual physio and all those sorts of things. So I think it's just another indication of the potential of the space and where it could possibly go.
What do you think in terms of actually how you would present yourself? Like, we have VFlex, like with like our avatars, right? Our brand within Virtua. Would something like that be across everywhere in terms of avatar for different kinds of people, even in interviews, two avatars talking to each other?
As long as I haven't got the dead eyes of Zuckerberg, I don't know. I don't.
Let's name this podcast "Dead Against Zuckerberg."
PP Zuckerberg's podcast. Yeah, I don't know, because what would you do? Would you be a VFlex going to a job interview? Probably not, right? I don't know. That's something to be seen and how that's going to work out. But yeah, I don't know how that would quite work.
But I love our VFlex, right? Fantastic. And I know you're leading the VFlex front right now, right? In terms of the larger term strategy. So what are the few things you have in mind?
I think the ultimate ambition, right? Well, let me go back. So when I started the business, right, I remember seeing the VFlex and thinking, there's something about these guys, right? There's something special about them, and I think we've really struck some gold with these guys. There's something very emotive about them, and there's lots of potential in terms of where we can take them, right? But I think the longer term ambition with it is it's got the potential to become an IP in its own right. Okay, so it's yes, they'll be all over the metaverse, and yes, you'll be able to use them as your avatar in the metaverse in the longer term, not the longer term, the near term, hopefully. But I think as an IP, it's got massive potential. And when I was looking at this recently, and I was looking at what Bored Apes have done and so forth, and I think the model they've done is really, really interesting, because obviously that ability to own the commercial rights to the ape that you've bought and what you can then do with that ape, right? So then you can license it out to fast food, you can stick it on a bottle of wine, you can create your own merchandise range, or you've seen they own punks now, right? So the CryptoPunks Tiffany jewelry that is accessible through an NFT, through the ownership of your punk and so forth. That element of it, I think, is the powerful bit. So to be able to why would you want it as an owner? It's an ongoing drop of engagement of revenue that you can get your hands on through that ownership. And I think that is a model we can learn from for VFlex. And so I'd love to see that, we take it down that road, and we see that sort of level of ownership and exploration of the royalties with it. I mean, my ultimate goal, right, and I'm not saying this is with any credibility, but my ultimate goal for VFlex is to have it, I can totally see it being in a sort of a TV show or a series of shorts in its own right, animated shorts. And why couldn't you do that sort of model where, let's say we had let's say the VFlex you owned, you could lease those back to us, so that your VFlex could feature in the TV show, right? As an example, not to say we necessarily do that. I mean, I'd love to do that, but who knows? But that's the sort of thing we could do, and I think that's where it gets really powerful, and I think that's where audiences are really going to engage with it.
100%. Especially if you own a VFlex, that particular VFlex gets to be in the show. Some commercial cut in terms of what that person gets. Even in terms of comic books. Bored Apes, they have a partnership with UMG for a Bored Apes a band, right?
Yeah.
Infinite number of things that can be done, and the user benefits from these kind of partnerships and thinking as well.
Yeah, and then you get Seth Green, the guy, the actor, who I think is one of the one who had his ape was stolen, wasn't it? That sort of stuff, and then it just exponentially grows, and the hype and the excitement around it, and the value, of course, as well, phenomenal.
We have a lot of brands that we work with. What's in the horizon? What is really exciting for you? If I were to ask you, name one project that you're excited to work with, and in thinking in bringing that particular brand to Web 3.0.
There's a couple actually. It's not a one fit answer. I think one of them is Shelby, right? So Shelby cars. I mean, what a beast! What a beast those cars are, right? And the platform and the catalog that we're going to get our hands on, and what we can do with that. So I think, I know that's being worked on at the moment, but I think that Shelby cars is because of it's not, you're talking about iconic vehicles, but also you're talking a very passionate fan base as well. So I think it's the perfect mix, and I'm a big petrol head as well, so I think it's a perfect mix of automotive, awesome cars, passionate audience, and I think we can do some really amazing stuff with it.
Okay, excellent. So what else, man? What else do we want to talk about? This show is gonna be weekly.
Weekly, yeah,
and we'll start bringing in some other people, perhaps a quick interview.
I think so, and I think it'd be also great to get questions from the community as well, right? If there's stuff they would love to hear about, because
very nice.
As I said, there's going to be lots of other stuff about metaverse and all. There'll be some very specific development recordings that we're going to do, right? So I think to keep it on a more general level. But I think I'd love to hear what the community is thinking, what they want to hear from us, and that'd be a great way to sort of tap into each week and talk about and maybe one day we can do prizes for questions read out and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. Let's see where it goes.
Sounds very good, man. Sounds very good.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the time we can bring in your joke. Do you have one ready for this week?
I got loads ready for this week. But before we do that, there's a couple of things I just wanted to touch on, right? So what we've got, I think worth noting in terms of the stuff we've got coming up. So we've got a lot going on with Cardano Island right now, which is really exciting.
Exciting project. Very passionate community. Very passionate.
I mean, that for me is a bit of a game changer, what we did with them. Just for me, from a community understanding point of view, it's really opened my eyes to a lot of stuff, I have to say. So we got Cardano Island, we got the land claim event coming up, and I know that we're going to be doing a session on that early next week in terms of what's happening, where we are with it, and keeping everybody up to speed. So I think that's one thing. And then post that, I think we've got, there's going to be like a crib event, there's a landbot event, lots of other stuff that we're talking about internally that's going to be coming up. So we've got that. And then, of course, we've got mobile, right? So we've got the new app, which is out being beta tested at the moment by some of the community, and I think what I'm hearing, provided some really, really interesting feedback and really valid feedback. So there's that coming, and how we're then going to start to roll that out, and what we can then do with that app as well. We've got Virtua Pass, which is coming up as well, which is a subscription, and there'll be a load of added benefits into that in terms of, there'll be more coming without going into detail on that. So I think those key pieces are coming up, which will be cool. So more stuff there, and then of course we've talked about some of the IPs we have as well.
In addition to that as well, a key functionality that I love is the blind box, loot box type of functionality that we can bring in, and that's going to be even gamify the experience that we can bring to the community even more. I think that's going to be a big change in how we develop our programs, etc.
100%. No, that's good. It's good. So that's all I've got for now. So shall I tell you my joke?
Let's end with your joke, man. Let's see what you got for this week.
Right. Hang on. I got to find it because I had to write it down because it was so bad I couldn't remember it. Okay, you ready? You're sitting down. It's okay. Okay. So, how do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
I hope it's not a slap joke, but go ahead.
You follow the Fresh Prince. I'm sorry. I'll go now.
Very nicely done, my friend. Nicely done.
Comedy is about delivery and timing.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we can take jokes from the community next time instead of your jokes.
I mean, that's a step too far. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real, man.
All right, man. Very good show. Very good talking to you. And we will continue this next week. Okay. And to everyone out there, please give us feedback on the first episode of Virtual Vibes, or as Pierre calls it, PP Vibes. PP Virtual Vibes?
PP Vibes.
PP Vibes.
Yeah, that's it.
We'd love to hear your feedback. And we would love to get Q&As, questions that you might have, right? We will take in anything. And this is for us, but more than anything else, this is for you, right? And we'd love to hear from you. All right, so everyone, from me and from Pierre, till next week.
Cool, man. Speak to you then. Bye-bye.